Chris.
And I'm Deb.
And we host a pretty fun podcast called Today We Laughed and Learned. You know, this is where we discuss all the things we should have learned, but, well, never did. And we have quite a few laughs along the way.
Today We Laughed and Learned with Chris and Deb.
We're curious about everything. Experts on nothing.
Come find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation. This is episode 102. We're titling this one A Day in the Life. That's right, we are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. On this episode, we're looking at our favorite movies that take place in one day. We're going to talk about the movie a little bit and then decide whether or not it's plausible that all the events of that film could have happened in one day. Don't forget to drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Don't forget to visit Patreon if you'd like to support the show, or go to teespring.com and visit the Films Fermented storefront so you can buy some of our merch. Merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made.
The flamethrower. The kids love this one.
We put it out before the movie.
We recently changed hosting platforms to Buzzsprout. Let me tell you a little something about Buzzsprout. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping us succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get the message out to the world. We changed the Buzzsprout, and it's been a game changer for us. New analytics, resources, ad opportunities, you name it, we have it. So if you want to upgrade, Buzzsprout has tons of guides to help you find just what you need. You want your show listed on every major podcast platform? Please check out Buzzsprout and let them know that we sent you. So, gentlemen, what are we drinking this evening? I think I'll go first tonight. I've done mixed drinks the last couple shows, and I was like, I'm just going simple tonight because it's not really a show where you can kind of theme your drink unless you want to do one of the individual movies that we picked. So I said, I'm just going beer tonight, simple beer. So I'm drinking one of the ones that Mike gave me from the Devil's Backbone pack. This is the Franzenskanner Weiss beer.
Weiss is nice.
Weiss. This is the first time I had it, and I'm drinking it, and I'm like, I noticed some weird notes in this beer. I'm not sure what they are. So I looked it up on Untappd to see the flavor profile, and it said notes of like banana and clove. And I went, yeah, that's exactly what I'm tasting. Banana and clover.
Yeah.
So, and then I have another one for later on. Mike, you're actually drinking tonight? Yeah.
Just a little.
I like that. It's like, because, you know, we were busting your balls last week because you had to drink iced tea because you're on call.
Yeah,
so like, what are you drinking? And he breaks out an entire goddamn bottle of bourbon.
4 Roses bourbon. Was it last week? No,
It was last week you were on call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't remember anymore. Yeah, it was last week.
That's because you're drinking right out of that bottle.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No, I was told by someone that, you know, the beer's making my belly bigger, so I need to start drinking straight whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been doing those last
That'll
couple
do it. That'll help.
Yeah, I had a friend of
That'll
mine
solve
who said he stopped drinking brown liquors because it's the clear liquors that help you lose weight.
There's no carbs in whiskey or bourbon. So.
Now, you see, I have a bourbon gin, which is gin that has been aged in a bourbon barrel. So it has a slight tint to it. I'm eager to try it, though.
Nice. What are you drinking tonight?
Oh, well, tonight I figured 24 hours, and these are what I got for an Easter weekend. But I figured we start off with early morning. Okay, so this is a Pilsner from Double Nickel, right? So we got our yellow can, yellow. Okay, then the sun begins to set, and we have our IPA from Double Nickel with a slight orange tint, which takes us into our evening of a Vienna style lager in its blue can. Nice. So I have 24 hours of drinking, and I got to get started. So, go with the first one.
I feel like I talked over you a little bit, Mike, during your thing there. Yeah, that's Four Roses you had.
Yeah, it's Four Roses bourbon.
I like,
This the straight. This the regular. I do have the small
yeah,
batch here, but
yeah.
I ain't
I like
opened it
Four
yet.
Roses.
Mhm.
Pretty good. I just killed a bottle of Four Roses the other night.
The regular or the small batch?
It was, I think it was a small batch because it was the fancy bottle.
Yeah,
Yeah, I killed
I
that
got,
the other night.
I got a bottle of that for Easter.
All right. Mike, anything historical happened this week?
This day in film history.
Should I take the first one since I wrote it?
It's yours. Take it.
So our first fact from this week in film history, I wrote for us today because I just found this out today, and it's I love this movie. If you've never seen it, you really should. It's an underrated horror film called Cabin in the Woods, starring Chris Hemsworth. Very early role for him. Oscar nominee Richard Jenkins. It was written by Joss Whedon. Many other Joss Whedon favorites are in the movie. It was released in theaters on this date in 2000. I want to say it was 2000 and it was so I should have wrote the year down. I know it was released on this date, but it's an underrated classic. I think it's a really good horror film, but it's also a really funny horror film. It was released in 2011 on this date. So it's 12 years old now. It's a very meta, tongue-in-cheek, like making fun of the typical horror movie tropes by using the horror movie tropes kind of film, with a really bonkers twist ending. It's a really fun movie to watch. And coincidentally, since this is a day in the life episode, the movie Cabin in the Woods also happens in one day. So, Mike, what's the other one you got for us today?
In 1926, Alfred Hitchcock releases his first film as a director, The Pleasure Garden, in England. The silent drama was made in Germany, but it did not make the AFI list like all his others.
It's just amazing. I'm just amazed that he released a movie in 1926.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't realize he started making movies that early. Like, I think of things like The Birds and Rear Window and things like that, and they were mostly the 60s and like 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yep.
So I don't think of him as like.
With this movie, they actually called him Slim Hitchcock.
Yeah,
that was his name. He went by Slim.
Slim Hitchcock.
Mm-hmm.
Slim Hitchcock. Mike, you have a must-try beer craft destination for us?
I have a craft destination in Florida.
Mm.
Cigar City Brewing, 3924 West Spruce Street, Tampa. If you like a variety when it comes to craft beers, then put this brewery on your list. Founded in 2007 by Joey Redner, Cigar City has been brewing in Tampa since January 2009. And since that time, it has brewed more than 6,000 individual brands of beer. Visit them at their Spruce Street tap room and make sure to check out their website for the annual release of the legendary Humpa Imperial Stout on Humpa Day, March 12th.
Easy for you to say.
Exactly.
Oompa doompa doompa dee doo.
This beer
have a special beer for you.
This beer is so rare it is only available via online pre-order with a lottery drawing. If you are selected, you must pick up the beer at the brewery. Consider it the perfect time to visit.
Wow.
There you go, boys.
So I'm looking up the Alfred Hitchcock thing because I was just curious about it. His first movie was made in 1922, but it was unfinished and never released. He was born in 1899.
Wow.
So yeah, that Pleasure Garden was his first film that he released as a director,
Mm-hmm.
and made
Slim Hitchcock
a shit ton of movies in 1927. Jesus, a lot of movies for 1 year. And then it was in like the 30s when he started to get into like the stranger films that he's known for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the 50s when I think he had his first like major hit, which was a movie called Lifeboat, which he got a directing nomination for. So wow. So yeah, so our next thing here is as I keep saying, my continuously growing favorite segment, the synopsis according to Glip, which I hid from you gentlemen tonight because I wanted to surprise you with it before before we did the show. So our synopsis according to Glip brought to you by Newsly.me. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android that will read the news to you in a natural human voice. Why read it when you can have it read for you? Go to Newsly.me to find out more information. Use the promo code Ferment, and you can get your first month premium subscription for free. Newsly.me. Stop scrolling. Start listening. So our synopsis according to Glip. Here we go. I actually changed the color on it just to hide it from you guys. You could have went in there and saw it for yourselves. The participants talked about editing of the episode, stout with milk, sugar, and chocolate, quick splices of a dick, William Shakespeare's bus, the rest of the movie, and silhouettes of the characters.
Did I miss this episode? Because I was totally sober last week drinking tea, and I don't remember half of that.
So the participants talking about editing the episode was pre-show shit. I was talking about editing some things in here and there. The stout with milk, sugar, and chocolate was the Peeps thing that Kevin was doing.
That's the only thing I remember.
Quick splices of a dick was from talking about Fight Club.
Yep.
And how one of the Easter eggs was a picture of a dick that was spliced into a frame of the film. I just love it. That's what it picked up on.
Mm-hmm.
William Shakespeare's bust was, you were talking about the bust of William Shakespeare in the Batman film.
Oh, yep, yep.
Didn't miss the T.
Missed the T.
Rest of the movie, I don't know. That could be anything we talked about in the episode. And silhouettes of the characters. That's the one that got me a little confused. So you'll be talking about shadows or something. I wonder if we talked about Hitchcock in that episode too. It was the quick splices of dick that made me want to hide it for you guys, and wait to release it for this episode.
Good
so once again, the synopsis according to Glip did not disappoint. That's our synopsis according to Glip, brought to you by Newsly. I have a thank you I want to throw out there to Robert Stewart, who hosts the Stew World Order podcast. Mike, I think you'd like his podcast. It's comic book related. But he gave us a review on Apple Pods and wrote a 5-star review, A+ show, solid movie review show that also talks about alcoholic beverages. The hosts have really good chemistry and humor, and the show flows really well thanks to them. Check it out, everyone.
Nice.
And I just wanted to thank him for the really nice message he put on Apple Pods for us.
Thank you, Stew World Order.
Stew World Order. So I have a hypothetical question for us this evening before we get to the main segment.
I have a hypothetical answer for you before we continue with tonight's set. Yeah.
If you could go back in time, and this could be any decade, it doesn't have to be within your lifetime. If you could go back in time to see any movie the weekend that it premiered, what movie would it be? What movie do you think I would pick?
The Godfather.
Michael?
Star Wars.
I picked neither, surprisingly enough. I would like to go back and see Jaws.
Nice.
Because it's, since it's considered the first summer blockbuster film, I would like to be there in the audience the first time that shark, pops up, and just to see what the audience reaction would be to it. And then as long as I got a time machine, I might try to, catch Godfather Star Wars as well. Kev, you have an answer for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this, and this is within my lifetime. I just know I didn't make it to their opening weekend, but I think I want to see The Matrix this weekend coming out because of all the hype that it had. Either that or Jurassic Park, both of which I was alive for. But, I think the hype with those movies, it would have been amazing to see the effects in action.
See, I saw Jurassic Park on the opening weekend. And it's one of my early experiences of going to the movies that made me love movies so much.
Mhm.
You know, like I still love Jurassic Park to this day just because of the feeling I get thinking about seeing it for the first time. I got to see Star Wars when they did the re-release in the 90s. I don't know, it doesn't have the same effect, but you know, it's still cool to get to see them on the big screen. The
Yeah.
Matrix I did not see in the theater. I wish
No,
I had seen it in the theater.
I had seen it in the theater. It wasn't opening weekend, but I know like with Jurassic Park, it was the special effects with the dinosaurs that wowed everybody, you know, and it was. I actually wasn't thrilled with it because I had just finished reading the book, and you know the book's always better than the movie, but still enjoyed the movie. But The Matrix also, again, special effects and original story, and really look forward to seeing it. I did see it in the theater, just not opening weekend.
Yeah, I saw the other Matrix movies in the theater. I wish I had seen them, and I hadn't seen them in the theater, but you know. Michael, how about you? You got an answer for that?
Yeah, I think I do. Mine's going to be a little off base for me, but I think I would like to see The Wizard of Oz, just to see the rest of the to see the rest of the crowd's reaction when it goes to color.
Yeah, that quick pop to color at the beginning there is just amazing. Even now, it's amazing. I'd like to see. There's a lot of movies from like that era. I think would be cool to see on the big screen. It's like Wizard of Oz probably be cool to see. I think Ten Commandments probably be cool to see.
That was my next one, 10 Commandments, because I don't think I've ever been in a movie that has an intermission.
I went to see Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, which was 4 hours long. And there was an actual like 10-minute break in the middle of the film. Actually, I saw JFK in the theater when it was released, and that originally had an intermission as well.
Oh my God!
Because that movie is over 3 hours long, so there was an intermission in that. I was thankful for that one because that was one of the worst pisses I ever had to take in my life. But yeah, I would love to go back to those old school. You know, I'd love to see like West Side Story on the big screen. I'd love to see
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind be great to see. Singing in the Rain on the big screen.
Oh yeah.
White Christmas.
Yes,
that'd be a great one too. Like all those.
A Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I might have actually seen it then. I just thought this was a fun question to throw out there. I threw this question out on Twitter earlier today. So anybody listening, if you'd like to give us your answer to this hypothetical question, please visit the @FilmsForment Twitter and tweet us back an answer in the comments. And I'll read your answer on next week's episode. See what some other people out there would like to see. I know we did get one answer earlier. I don't remember what it was, but we'll throw it on next week's show. So we'll be right back after a short break.
Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, the Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
Hello, everybody. Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, did you ever wonder what teachers talked about in the teacher's lounge?
You probably didn't miss much. It's usually boring stuff like grading papers, lesson planning, and then figuring out the new train schedule.
Train schedule?
Well, I teach in the city.
But sometimes, at one of the not-so-cool tables in the back of the teacher's lounge, you might find us, the Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night.
My name is Mr. Richardson, and by day, Mr. McDonald, Mr. G, and I teach and inspire America's youth.
But by night, we debate, discuss, and argue about all things in the pop culture universe on our podcast.
We discuss all the biggest pop culture topics in the world, like Ozark, Stranger Things, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Marvel, Star Wars, Top Gun Maverick, The Old Man, Bridgerton, you name it, we'll probably discuss it.
You guys watch Bridgerton?
Yo, season 1 of Bridgerton was awesome. You don't know what you're missing. Since we are teachers, you will always get a ton of background information about our topics and original teacher-themed segments, like our pop culture morning announcements, building meetings, and post-observation reviews of shows and movies. Oh, and arguing. You'll get lots of disagreements and arguing, like way more than I'm comfortable with.
You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search for The Fandalorians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night.
Then join us every Monday as we look into the current state of fandom and pop culture.
Hey, look, the bell's about to ring. We need to head to the buses. Hopefully, we'll see you guys soon.
Well, I mean, they're not going to see us because this is a podcast.
I know.
But they can't even see us when you think about it, so they won't see us either.
Oh my God, you know what I meant. It wasn't literal. Just ring the bell. Ring the bell.
The Fandalorians, teachers by day, nerds by night. I hope you listen and subscribe to us soon.
I hate you guys.
So we are back from our short little break here, and we're going to bring to you now our main segment titled "A Day in the Life." These are all movies that took place in one day. And so for this list tonight, we decided we would each choose 5 movies that we really like that are all one-day films, and we will discuss the plots a little bit because a lot of these are films we've talked about before. But what we're mainly going to be discussing tonight is does the one-day structure work for these films? Is it believable that the events of these movies could take place in one day? Now, before we get started with that, I have just cracked open a new beer. So the first beer I did this evening was a Mike beer from the Devil's Backbone pack that he got me. This is a Kevin beer that I'm doing now. This is the Southern Tier Irish Cream Stout.
Oh, no, that was a Mike beer as well.
Was that a Mike beer too? I thought that was one of yours, Kev.
That was mine.
I wanted that one. I could not find it as a single, only as a six pack. Isn't that good?
Ooh, that's a kick in the nuts right there.
That's flavorful. That's got a lot of flavor.
It is.
I'm also cracking open a new one. This is a double nickel IPA. This is 8% alcohol by volume. The Pilsner was only 5.6%. I'm working my way up to Sweet Vienna, which is back to 5.3. But
Yeah, Vienna's going to be lower.
Okay, that is very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That is like you catch the
cream ale or
you catch the Irish stout on the first taste,
mm-hmm.
and then it goes from like Irish stout to beer right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you gotta kind of get used to it a little bit.
Yeah,
that's good. It's just I wasn't ready for it. This is 5% alcohol by volume, 5.8%. So I'm sorry, Mike. I thought this was a Kevin one. Because I know you got me the Devil's Backbone 6-pack and the Spaten did 6-pack.
That one I brought over.
Okay.
After for St. Patrick's Day.
For St. Patty's Day.
When we won.
I might think because I have 2 bottles of this. I might make my beer bread with the other one.
Ooh.
Irish cream stout beer bread.
That sounds good.
Hey.
Have to bring it over for D&D.
I would pay for that in dimes that came out of the back of a tractor trailer.
All righty. So, as I said, each of us chose 5 films that all take place in one day. So I figured we'll round robin this. I'll do one, Mike does one, Kevin does one. We'll work our way through them. We got a few little honorable mentions at the end. And mainly what we want to talk about here is, does this movie work in the one-day plot structure? So the first movie I chose, I decided to go like action film, comedy, classic, one that's kind of like out of the box, and then like a personal favorite one and all that. Try to mix it up a little bit.
Your first one is the one you stole from me because I was going to put it on my list.
So the first one, I chose first this time around because I was being greedy. So I chose Die Hard for the first one. The world's most perfect Christmas film. For anybody out there living under a rock who's never seen Die Hard, the lovable family Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
About a man trapped in a high-rise building with a bunch of terrorists screaming "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!" They're thieves.
They're thieves.
So Die Hard. It's funny because when I was looking at some of these movies, it's I feel like a really good one-day movie doesn't feel like a one-day movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Die Hard doesn't really feel like a one-day movie. But then when you look at the time frame of it, like he lands in LA,
right?
takes the limo to the office building,
Mhm.
and then he's there the rest of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Right. And it's an evening thing, right? I mean, I don't know if they end with the sun rising, but it's definitely an overnight sleepover kind of thing.
it's within that 24-hour period. I would say,
yeah.
Now, thinking about that and realizing that it's a one day, does it seem to work as a one day film then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, it's a building, so to get from floor to floor, it's
Without
not
the elevator.
without the elevator, but still, I mean, it shouldn't be taking anybody. It's not a trip with hobbits. It's not a fellowship kind of thing, you know. It's not. They're not going to Mordor. He's just going up to the top floor, you know. So,
I look at it as like they would never let a hostage situation like that go beyond a day either.
Yeah.
As you can see, like, you know, middle of the film, the FBI was already to blow the building up.
Because it's the 80s, and that's what you do.
Just blow shit up.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. So, we all agree then that is a film that actually fits the one day structure fine.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's a 3 for 3 on Die Hard. Mike, what's your first one?
Whoa, man, it's Speed.
Do you want to give us a little synopsis on Speed there?
Speed is a young police officer must prevent a bomb exploding aboard a city bus by keeping it at the speed above 50 miles per hour.
The most implausible thing about that movie is not the bomb on the bus. It's not having to keep the bus above 50 miles an hour to keep the bomb from exploding. It's not Keanu Reeves as a cop. It's the fact that they're able to drive this bus to 50 miles an hour through LA.
And jump it.
And jump it, not get stuck in traffic anywhere. So let's time frame that then, because it's been a while since I've seen Speed. And I don't know. I felt like it's like something like it feels almost like the action portion of it takes place like the day after the intro shit.
Yeah, but it does. I mean, it does fit because they're on the bus all fucking day.
And the bus only has so much gas in it, so
yeah.
Well, I'm talking about like the beginning when you're like you meet Keanu Reeves and you meet the people on the bus and like you know it feels almost like it's going from one day to the next. But then that would make sense because these people would be on the bus for like days at a time.
Yeah.
I think right there is the thing that probably proves that it's a one day film most of all is that it's the same characters on the bus the whole way through.
Yeah.
It's also the film that made the world fall in love with Sandra
Bullock.
Sandy Bullock.
I had a girlfriend at the time that looked like her, and I said, "You know, you look like her." And she was like, "Who is she?" I was like, "The girl from Speed." She goes, "Oh, I don't watch movies." I said, "Oh, man."
Kevin was like,
That was the
"You
end
are
of our
not the girl for
relationship.
me. See you later, honey." I don't trust anybody who says I don't watch movies.
I don't know. I
Like
think
you've never
fell in
watched
love
a
with
film.
I used to think I fell in love with Sandra Bullock during Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
That tight ass suit she was in. Come on.
I fell in love with Sandra Bullock after The Net.
The Net.
Miss Congeniality?
Miss Congeniality.
No, I fell in love with her after Bird Box.
Something about that blonde wing and the blind side, that blonde wing. All right. Kev, what's your first one?
Mine is a movie from 1999 called Go.
Go!
And Go! And it's a movie that takes place over 24 hours, but it's also a movie that takes place from 3 different characters' points of view. So much like Pulp Fiction fashion, where you follow one character over the course of the day, and then you get another character's point of view. It's the same kind of thing here. You have the cashier at the supermarket, who is Rona, right? And how she goes about trying to go to a rave, which is what they did in the late 90s, to my understanding, and accumulating some drugs and then having to get rid of the drugs due to a drug sting operation that she, just minutes before found out about, and then having to find a way of returning the money to the drug dealer and stuff like that. And that's the one point of view. Then there's the drug dealer's perspective, Simon's story, where he goes to Vegas, and there's a whole thing that goes along with him and his friends in Vegas. And so it doesn't, they do intersect, but it's not like parallel, they kind of weave in and out. It's not always the same scenes between the three. And then another group.
I haven't seen Go. I think I saw Go when it came out, and I haven't seen it since then.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's critically panned. I mean, not panned.
I have to I might have to revisit it just to see, because it's like a movie like that where you're switching perspectives almost tricks you into thinking that it's not a day.
Right.
It actually is a day.
And when you understand like what's going on in the one, and then it's in a different setting, like this now we're in Vegas, so maybe it's a different day. But honestly, on IMDb, it's got a 7.2 out of 10 rating. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. It's just, dated, I guess. So and the names at the time were just names of the late 90s. It's Sarah Polley, Scott Wolf, Jay Moore, Taye Diggs, Katie Holmes. Who else? William Fitchner. I really like him as an actor. He's underused.
Yeah, he's one of those like a that guy, like you see him in the film, you're like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
He was the bank teller at the beginning of Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And
another Easter egg. I'm sorry. Just some. Did we point out this Easter egg last week? Is that when the Joker robs that bank in the beginning? Did we point that one out?
I said that it was funny because I never realized.
Oh yeah,
that was the same gun that he takes from the guy at the beginning.
Yeah. All right, my bad. Okay, go ahead.
I got a little trivia for you there. Sarah Polley, who starred in Go, this year won an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay for Women Talking.
Oh yeah,
and she wrote the screenplay for that film. Yeah. So a little roundabout there for you. I just looked up a couple other movies that I didn't have on my list or on the honorable mentions list. We'll talk about them in the honorable mentions because I can't believe I didn't think of these. But these are all one-day films. You'll see me as I'm typing them up here. But as I'm typing them, I'll talk about my second film, which is
Never Say Die.
Goonies.
Yeah, they never say
die. Hey, you guys. Baby, roll.
Do the truffle shuffle.
You klutz. Starring Sean Astin and James Brolin and Corey Feldman and recent Oscar winner Ke Huy Quan. The Goonies. I love The Goonies. It's another movie that's like, I don't realize it takes place in one day. And I think it's because it's
one day?
It's a 24-hour period thing where it's like the middle of the day, the first part, and then kind of works into the morning the next. Because it's nighttime when they're in the cave, and then when they come out, it's morning. So, but it's actually a 24-hour film.
Okay.
But that's a lot of shenanigans to get involved in 24 hours.
And yet they still cut out the Kraken.
Yeah, they still cut out the octopus attack, yeah. But Ke Huy Quan still says it to the reporters at the end of the film. The octopus is really scary.
He did.
And I think Cyndi Lauper sings about it in the Goonies song. The more I drink this Irish stout, the better it tastes.
It's very good beer.
As I'm getting to the bottom of the bottle, I'm liking it more.
I think one of my next trips up to New York has to be the Southern Tier.
I don't know if I want to make beer bread now. I want to drink the other bottle. But Goonies, is it believable that it's a one-day film? I actually have a hard time. I have a hard time thinking it's a one-day film. I mean, it's a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's like 24 hours, kind of.
It really is
2 days.
Yeah, so it starts in like the afternoon of one day, and it goes overnight because you come across the scene where they're banging on the pipes, and that's all at night, and when they're found, it's really right around like morning the next day.
Yeah,
And
it's
you would think if it was, if your kids are gone overnight, you think the police be out looking for them.
Well, the police were looking for those 3 bank robbers.
They were looking for the Fratellis. Like that. All right. Let's talk about what happens in the course of a day in this film. In the beginning of the movie, you have the kids showing up at Mikey's house because they're bitching about the fact that the houses are being foreclosed and they have to move and they're not going to be Goonies anymore, yada yada. Cut to the Fratellis escaping from prison.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to Lawrence calling the police because he sees the car chase. Actually, that's before they go to Mikey's house. Fratellis escape from prison. He sees the car chase, calls the cops. The cops don't believe him. They go to Mikey's house. They find the map in the attic. They leave the house. They go to the restaurant where the map leads them to. They meet the Fratellis. They find a trap door that leads down to the basement. Somehow they get matched up with James Brolin and the 2 girls, end up joining them.
Mm-hmm.
They find a money printer that prints the fake money. Then there's the banging on the tubes part.
Well, here's what's really unbelievable. You have the 3 bank robbers, the Fratellis, chasing kids for a treasure they don't even know is real or not.
Yeah. I would say I just wanted to chase the kids because I don't need witnesses. To the fact that they find a dead FBI agent in an ice cream cooler. And then Chunk meets this, deformed, 4th family member chained to a wall.
I didn't drop you.
And this is all before they start finding the booby traps.
Booby traps! Booby traps!
Then they find a pirate ship. They find treasure on the pirate ship. They fight the Fratellis. They swim off. They get to the beach. They find all their families and everything. The Fratellis get arrested. The ship sails off into the distance.
With all the treasure.
That's a 24-hour period. They didn't sleep at all in that 24 hours either.
Nope.
That's a lot of shit.
Bullshit. I call bullshit.
Mike, what's your second one there?
My second one is about on the hottest day of the year in Brooklyn. Everyone's hate and bigotry smothers over and builds until it explodes in violence. It's called Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing.
It has a who's who of who wasn't known yet that is known now. As in Giancarlo Esposito, and Samuel
Spike Lee's
Jackson,
earliest films.
Rosie Perez,
Yeah, John Turturro.
Yeah.
You have like Samuel Jackson as well. He's the DJ in that film. He's not even like a main character.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll tell you who's a good one in this is one of the Italian characters, Vito, played by Richard Edson. He's probably best known as the parking lot attendant in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Don't worry, man.
Don't worry, man.
We'll take real good care of it. We're
Danny
professionals.
Aiello, Ossie Davis, who's like a African American acting legend. Yeah, there's a lot of who's who, like you said, who's who of who wasn't quite famous just yet.
Yep.
Nominated for 2 Oscars: supporting actor for Danny Aiello and screenplay for Spike Lee, but didn't win anything. This is definitely, I think, an easy one to understand. It is a day.
Yeah.
It's basically a day movie.
So
we haven't been voting here. Let's go back real quick. Speed. Is that plausible?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's I think
For me, a day. It's not plausible if we're not hitting traffic, but
yeah. Go. Is that a plausible one for a day? I say it's to me it's slightly hard to understand because it's all those different perspectives.
I want to give it a 2.5, and that's because of the
2.5?
perspective thing. 2.5.
Okay, so we'll call it 2 out of 3.
It's
Goonies.
not a 2.5. 2.5 out of 3 is not a 2 out of 3.
There's 3 of us. I'm saying,
Okay.
So I'll say, we'll do 1 out of 3.
Oh, fine. Okay. Didn't like that,
Goonies.
motherfucker? Let me take that off. Goonies. It was the overnight thing now.
Yeah, it's the
The
one I was
overnight
thinking
thing kind of hurts it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Right Thing is definitely 3 for 3 because I think we all
Mhm.
understand that that's a one-day film. And then Kev, what's your next one?
My next one is Friday.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Damn.
Where's my $5?
You don't got to be
great.
Nobody go in there for at least half hour to 45 minutes.
Some of the best lines in that movie are given by him.
That's John Witherspoon. He's awesome. He's one of those guys. He was another great movie with him is Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. he's in that film as well. He's another one like one-liners all over the place.
All right.
Movie that introduced us to Chris Tucker, for better or
Chris
worse.
Tucker and Regina King.
Mm-hmm.
Regina King was in it too, and this
King,
was
Nia
early
Long.
for her. 1995. Nia Long.
Ice Cube.
Yeah. Which apparently that's not his real name. Mm-mm. I was shocked, to say the least, to find out that his name was actually
O'Shea Jackson or something.
yeah,
like
O'Shea Jackson. But no, it's a funny feel good movie involving drug deals and bullies and guns and sitting on the porch.
Yeah, there's not many like drug related films that you could call a feel good film, but this is one of them.
And the paper boy wanting his $5.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, it stars that legendary actor of actors, Tiny Lister, as Debo. This is another, I think, unanimous. This is definitely a day movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the movie's called Friday because it takes place on a Friday.
One Friday, and I like how the subsequent movies were Friday, another Friday,
next Friday, the Friday after next,
Friday after that, yeah. Friday after next. I mean, it was very clever the way you could do all that.
Friday, 3 months from now. Yeah, it's like only shit only happens to them on Fridays. All right, the next one on my list it's an all-time movie. It's a classic. It's a John Hughes, special. Probably the least plausible one-day film of all the films on this list, though.
Bueller.
That is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Let's break this shit down. He wakes up in the morning, gives a whole fourth wall breaking monologue.
Mm-hmm.
The parents come in. He plays sick. They go to work, leave him home. He gets dressed. He calls all these kids at school. He's pretending to be sick. He's making noises on his little keyboard. He calls Cameron up. He talks him out of, committing suicide and coming over to go out with him for the day. I'll go.
Except
I'll
it's
go.
calling.
I'll go. He'll keep calling. He'll make me feel bad. He'll keep calling. I like when he calls him. He's like, he talks to him for a little bit and he hangs up the phone and he's like, I think I'm dying. And then the phone rings again. He picks it up and Ferris goes, "You're not dying. You just don't have anything good to do." But it's like, so that's all that. That's just the morning, right? And then he says that the parents, he has until 6 p.m. to do whatever he wants to do during that day because that's when the parents get home. So it's not even a full day. You're talking a school day, basically. So from like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. is the time frame. We're going to get 13 hours.
Well, talking to your teachers, a school day can feel like it lasts 4 days, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for teachers, it can also feel like it's lasting 4 days.
Yeah. So, I mean, like he's basically, you're talking about an even more truncated space of time here. So then they have to go to school to get Sloan out, right? Then they have to drive to Chicago from suburban Illinois, wherever the frig they live.
Mm-hmm.
They park the car in the garage, and then somehow on foot and by cab, they get from South Chicago to North Chicago back to South Chicago again. Get involved they catch a foul ball at a Cubs game. They go to Chicago Museum of Art.
Yep.
They have lunch at a really fancy restaurant where he pretends to be Abe Froman.
Snotty.
Abe Froman, Sasha King of Chicago.
Can we go back for a minute?
Yeah.
He went to a baseball game that back then could last 4 hours.
Yes. He went to a baseball game, went to the art museum, went to lunch,
Went to the Sears building.
Sears
Tower.
building, right? They went to the stock market.
They went to the parade.
He danced and sang in the parade.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then somehow still had enough time to break into somebody's backyard and use their pool. Go back to Cameron's house to try to roll back the miles on the car. And then run home. Get there by 6 p.m. And this is not including all the shit with Rooney and the sister and the parents and Charlie Sheen at the police station.
Exactly.
So I love this movie. It's a comedy classic. It's a John Hughes, film. I love John Hughes films. But I think this is the least plausible day in the life film on this list. You can do half of that shit if you were going to vacation in Chicago and wanted to see all that. We went to Boston, which is a much smaller city, and it took us like 4 days to see everything we wanted to see. So the next one on, I'm going to give that one a 0 out of 3. So the next one on Mike's list.
It's also John Hughes.
Yes.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Wrong one. Wrong soundbite.
Wrong button. It's The Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
I'm watching you.
It's one of those films where when you were a kid, you identify with all the kids that are in detention, but then as you get older, you kind of identify with the vice principal. And then you become a teacher and you really start identifying with the vice principal.
Yep.
So go ahead, Mike, what are you going to say?
Well, I was going to go with the 5 school students meet on a Saturday detention. They discovered they have a lot more in common than they thought.
Underrated form of punishment, man. Saturday detention.
Do they ever disclose the reasons for the detention? Do they ever, like, in their little powwow discuss it? Because I'm drawing a blank here.
Anthony Michael Hall's character, the little nerdy guy, was given detention because he had a flare gun in his locker or something.
Okay.
And then Bender has detention because you just assume he probably always has detention.
Right.
The football player character or wrestler character, whatever it is that Emilio Estevez plays, has detention because they were bullying a kid.
Yeah.
In the locker room. I don't know if Ali Sheedy's character actually had detention or if she's just there because she's weird.
She like doesn't talk throughout most of it.
Like, I don't know if she actually did anything to get detention or if she was just there because she had nothing better to do. And then I don't remember. The only one I don't remember is Molly Ringwald. I don't remember what her character did. I'm assuming it's, I don't know, something catty. Yeah. That's kind of like what her character was. Mike, is this a movie that could take place in one day?
Yes,
absolutely.
It's another movie that takes
all day, but
it's another John Hughes film that takes place in a day. More believable than Ferris Bueller, but there is a lot of shit that goes on in that small window of attention, including them like becoming friends and falling in love.
Dancing on the table.
Dancing on the table, and somehow Emilio Estevez smokes pot and becomes so powerful he could break windows with his voice.
No, Dad, F you. No, F you.
So that's the same scene as the dancing scene. Like he's in the one room and he's like, ah, and the glass breaks. And I'm like, how did they not get in trouble and get even more detention for all the fucking damage they did to that school while they were in there that day?
Hey, he wasn't in there to know what exactly happened, and they weren't ratting each other out.
The dude came through the roof.
Oh,
it's a giant hole in the ceiling. What do we got next here? Cav, what's your third one there?
This is the epitome of 24-hour movies. It's 24 hours over and over and over and over and over again.
This is like the greatest 24-hour cheat film of all time. Groundhog Day! Groundhog Day!
Yeah, I think it cheats a bit.
It's not a cheat. It's a 24-hour a day film that takes place over basically like 10,000 years because he's stuck in a loop for however long it is.
I'm not explaining Groundhog's Day. Everybody here should know what the movie Groundhog's Day. If you don't know the movie Groundhog's Day,
go watch Groundhog's Day.
Go watch it now. I was going to say stop listening to our podcast. Don't stop listening to our podcast. Just watch it.
It's a movie that basically launched its own genre.
Yeah. It is maybe the first multiverse movie.
I think so. I saw somewhere, I don't know, I saw it online or I heard on another podcast, somebody did the mathematics to figure out how long it would take him to master the things that he mastered in the film.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he learned how to play the piano, he learned how to ice sculpt.
Yeah.
There was, I don't remember like everything, he
There's
learns
dancing involved. Yeah.
Dancing. He would basically had to have like lived that day over and over again for something like 34 years.
Oh, wow.
In order to like master all of those talents that he did. Now, the book that it's based on, it's actually based on a novel. I think it does take place over something like 1,000 years.
Oh, God.
Like he's stuck in that loop like so long that, he doesn't think he'll ever get out of it. But it's like, yeah, it's one day. I mean, everything that happens in there happens in a day. It's easy to see. It's a little tiny town, it's Groundhog's Day. It's February 2nd. But yeah, this is one. It's a 3 out of 3, I think, but I'm going to call it a 3 out of 3 with an asterisk because it cheats. It cheats that 24-hour because you get multiple 24-hour days.
Because it goes back to the beginning of the day. It keeps going back.
Keeps going back. Keeps going back to that Sonny and Cher song.
Put your little hand in mine.
Hand in mine. That's a movie I saw in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome to watch it with an audience seeing it for the first time because every time he woke up, everybody was like, oh no, and then like as it kept happening, people were like, oh, again. And then when it gets to that very last scene where he wakes up and the song starts playing again, everybody goes, oh God. And then he turns over and Andy McDowell's in bed with him and you realize it's a different day but it's just the same song playing again. It was like the sigh of relief from the audience. It's like this torture is finally over. But it's a movie I think that's kind of grown in its classic status over the years.
And a cult classic.
I don't know if it's a cult classic. I think it's now just generally considered a classic. Who was that guy a few episodes ago who said it should have been on the AFI list? It was on one of the websites we were on. My fourth pick is my out of the box pick. It's a movie I love. It's not a movie for everybody because it's all talking, very little action in the film. It's based on a stage play and looks like a stage play when you watch it. And it's Glengarry Glen Ross, starring Al Pacino, Kevin Spacey, Alec Baldwin, Alan Arkin, Jack Lemmon, Ed Harris, and Richard Price. It is a stack cast film. Very powerfully acted, amazing dialogue, amazing, drama in the film, and it's another film that's easy to see that it takes place over the course of a day because it's about a bunch of down on their luck, like basically con men, real estate salesmen, and shows them like arriving in the office at the beginning of the day up until late at night when they're there working, trying to make their sales. And just shows them over the course of this day, suffering through the day, hating their lives, hating their jobs, hating each other, and just all the drama that occurs. If you're somebody who can get through a movie where it's just a lot of talking and a lot of amazing acting, check out Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah, I'll give that a 3 out of 3 on my own volition. So, Mike,
I haven't seen it.
It's a great movie, man. A really great movie. If you want to use your soundboard now, you can.
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
Make sure not to suck any dick on the way to the parking lot.
Hey, yo, get back here.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Not even supposed to be here today. My friends.
Mallrats.
Yeah, Mallrats. That's also another one-day film.
Yes, it is. I'm putting it on this now.
This list is growing again. So, Mike, what was that film you were talking about?
Clerks.
Clerks 2 is also a one-day film.
I love Clerks.
Clerks is great. Clerks 3 ruined the franchise for me, but Clerks is still great.
Mm-hmm.
Playing hockey on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite line in a film is like a blink and you miss it line, and it's they cut to Jay and Silent Bob outside, and he's like, "You a sexy man, Silent Bob. I'd like to line you up with 5 other dudes and make like a circus seal."
I love
Or
the
there's another-
whole Death Star contractor scenario. Politics absolutely play a part in it.
a contractor thinks with his heart and not with his wallet. Another great Jay line is, "I don't care if she's my cousin or not. I'm gonna knock them boots tonight." But it's another film. I think it's easy to see that that's a day film because
Film.
starts at the
But-
morning, finds the gum in the lock. People in this town are animals. The original ending in the film?
No.
Where Dante is shot?
Yes. So the
Yeah.
original ending of the film, he and Randall make up. Randall leaves. He's left at the store to like close up and everything, and he hears the door open, and he goes, "We're closed," and a guy walks in with a gun and shoots him, robs the cash register, and leaves, and the movie ends.
Oh, that would have been a fucked up ending.
Well, it's supposed to be the whole "I'm not supposed to be here today" thing coming back to bite him in the
Yeah.
ass again.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
thankfully, test audiences hated it enough that Kevin Smith decided to change the ending.
Yeah, because I don't think he would have another movie after that.
Well, you can see the original ending online. It's on YouTube if you look up the alternate ending for Clerks. It is very
Oh,
depressing.
Yeah.
It does ruin what was otherwise a movie with some excellent, excellent fucking jokes. So she fucked a dead guy. Who cares? My mom's been fucking a dead guy for 30 years. I call him dad. He's looking at the dirty magazine. He's talking about the nudie booth. The guy in line's like, "I'm really offended by what you're talking about." He's like, "You find that offensive? Check this out." And he shows him the dirty picture he's looking at, and he goes, "I think he could see her kidneys." God, I love that movie. That's definitely a 3 out of 3 for being a day film. Kev, what's your fourth one there?
This is one that I've caught on a few occasions. I'm not really well versed in it, but I did enjoy the movie. It's Dog Day Afternoon, 1975, starring Al Pacino, bringing Al Pacino and John Cazale, okay, back together when a bank robbery goes bad. A simple bank robbery is supposed to take place because Al Pacino's character, who is Sonny, who's a Vietnam War veteran, he's trying to get the money for his wife. What's his wife's name? I forget.
Well, his boyfriend wants a sex change.
Right. Leon.
Yeah, so
Leon is a trans woman.
trying to get the money for him. Yeah.
Right, for a sex change, and it just goes downhill from there. The bank robbery goes all wrong. There's a hostage situation. It just doesn't pan out. But it was a good movie. Had one Oscar win, and trying to see. Was the win the best picture?
So it won for best writing original screenplay.
Oh, okay.
It was nominated for picture. It was nominated for best actor for Pacino. It was nominated for best actor in supporting role for Chris Sarandon. That's Prince Humperdinck.
Humperdinck.
It was best director Sidney Lumet and best editing Dee Allen, but the only one it won for was the screenplay.
And best director. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great movie. It's one of an early Al Pacino, very early Al Pacino performance. It's the same year that it's the year after Godfather 2 comes out. So at this point, Pacino is Pacino at this point. He wasn't Pacino yet. And this is also pre-caricature Pacino from Son of a Woman.
Right. Hooah!
Hooah! Hey, Bob. What's up? For the folks listening and at home or watching us on YouTube, my wife is here to make her obligatory gallery appearance where you can't see her on screen, but you can hear her.
Oh, I have a wife pick, by the way. Once I'm done my list, I have one that my wife Megan has
okay.
suggested.
So-
I've never seen it, but she's encouraged me to want to see it.
Okay. He said Megan has a pick for our movies tonight for movies that take place in one day. Movies that take place in a day.
You guys are going to
So, like, the movie takes place over a 24-hour period, basically, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So, yeah, Dog Day Afternoon. I feel like it's like supposed to be based on a true story.
It is.
Oh, we're on the third one.
I'm on the third one. I'm into my evening.
I think it's supposed to be based on a true story. So, I mean, it is obviously a movie that is plausibly taking place in a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
The fifth one on my list is another one of my like outside the box ones because it's another one I
killed it. I hated her so
much.
Flames.
I got the things
on the side of my face, breathing, heaving breaths.
They both did that.
Yeah, because he's playing the clip of Madeline Kahn from Clue. In the side of my face. So yes, if you haven't guessed it already, the movie I'm talking about is Clue, which again, it's another one when I was looking through like movies for this episode, didn't realize it was a one-day film.
It was a one-night
It's
film.
basically a one-night film, but they all arrive earlier in that day to the mansion, but it is a movie that takes place.
Most of them were the ones we see were at night because it's all stormy.
Well, I'm
and
saying like
everything.
they all arrive relatively around the same time, and then the rest of the movie takes place over the course of that night.
Yep.
But it's another one that's like so frantic and so much shit happens. It's like you don't realize it, but yeah, it's basically one 12-hour period, give or take, that these people are there. We talked about Clue so much. We had a whole episode where we recasted the movie. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about it.
It can happen in one night.
Other than communism is a red herring. So I think that's a plausible one as well.
Long story short, too late.
Just one thing I don't understand. One thing. Mike, what is your fifth movie?
Wrong week. Quit sniffing glue.
Is that Roadhouse?
Shirley,
You can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley.
Airplane.
Another one that's kind of like one night, right?
Yeah, it's just one flight. Yeah,
one flight.
How long is the flight? You know.
Well, because I think it takes place at night.
Yes. Oh, there's some great lines in that movie. I swear to God, the whole jive dudes.
Red Line premiered at the San Diego Film Festival on September 29th.
What was that?
Shut up.
Alexa started talking.
Yeah. How was that? Wow.
Nervous? Yes. First time? No, I've been nervous lots of times. I like the. I like
Tell
every
me,
time,
Bobby,
every time
have
they-
you ever sat on a naked man's lap before?
Yeah.
The
What was
white
it?
lady.
What was
Jive ass dude, don't got no brains anyhow. Yeah.
What was it we had for dinner tonight? It was either chicken or fish. That's right. I had lasagna.
I take my
Yeah,
coffee.
but
I like my coffee like I like my men.
Here's what I think is pretty funny. If you go on to IMDb and look at the cast, Otto is actually on the list.
Otto,
the
Yes.
the automated pilot.
Oh,
Yes.
he's on the cast list.
He's on the cast list.
Looks like I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue.
Looks like I picked the wrong day to quit amphetamines.
Hey, if you have work channel on your back for 60 minutes, you'll be tired too.
Oh yeah, here's the jive thing. Right? I found the jive speech. Can I get you something? Smofo butter lay me down the bone, jacking me up tight me. And then there's a subtitle that says, I ate something that is making my insides cramp up. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Cutter said he can't hang. My buddy here says he can't take this for much longer. Oh, stewardess, I speak jive, says June
Cleaver.
Oh, good. He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him. All right, what would you tell him? Can you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine? So she turns to him, just hang loose, blood. She gonna catch you up on the rebound on the med side. What it is, Big Mama? My mama no raise no dummies. I dug her rat. Cut me some slack, Jack. Chump don't want no help. Chump don't get no help. Jive ass dude don't got no brains anyhow. Shit. The fact that they were able to get the actress to play June Cleaver to do that is awesome. That's the oh god, what's their names? The Zucker brothers, who did Airplane 2. They did some of the Naked Gun films. Like that's their thing, man. That like slapstick, really off the wall, goofy comedy stuff.
David and Jerry Zucker.
Yeah, but Airplane's another one that's almost kind of a cheat one because there's a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah.
You have all the flashbacks of the pilot guy, you know, when they do the whole Saturday Night Fever spoof thing, and then a lot of cutaways to Lloyd Bridges and Robert Stack in the flight tower.
don't forget the stewardess blowing up Otto.
Yeah, that's great. And he's smoking a cigarette afterwards. God, so I haven't seen that, and that's another movie I haven't seen in so long. I gotta check that shit out again. So, Kev, what's your last one there?
My last one is an older one from 1995. It's Johnny Depp in his youths. It's called Nick of Time. All right, and it stars Johnny Depp. It stars Christopher Walken. Yeah, Charles C. Dutton. Roma Mafia. It's got quite a few people. I like this movie. I remember watching it and thinking it was a really good idea or plot. It's a everyday guy who's forced into a situation where he's told to kill a politician because the people have kidnapped his daughter. So it's like if he doesn't do it, they're going to kill his kid. And they're watching him the whole time, and he's trying to. It's like at a convention or something, and they're trying to kill the politician, and he's trying to finding ways around it, finding ways where he doesn't have to do it, you know. But it's over the course of like an afternoon or something. It's really like hours.
Yeah, it says on IMDb the plot unfolds in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So everything happens like within. It's kind of like 24. Like it happens within.
So like it's a 2-hour movie. He's got this amount of time, 90 minutes, I think, to kill the woman.
I would say, it's rare for me, but this is a movie I have not seen. I have not seen Nick of Time. Odd because it has Christopher Walken in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have to check that out.
I think you'll like it.
So, yeah. So I had some honorable mentions here because, as I said earlier, like I had so many I wanted to talk about, but just couldn't find room for them on my list. So I just threw a few honorable mentions down here. We have 12 Angry Men. No matter what version you're talking about, because I think there's like 4 film versions of it. It's about 12 men on a jury.
What are their emotions?
Stuck in a what's that?
What are their emotions at this time?
What are their emotions?
Yes.
Their emotions are volatile because they are very angry.
Oh, they're very angry. Okay.
Yes, they're 12 Angry Men.
No, well, it's not just a clever title.
No, it's not just a clever title. It's 12 men stuck in a deliberation room for the course of a day trying to decide the fate of this guy that's on trial.
Aren't we all angry men when we have jury duty?
Yeah. I'm usually angry before I even have to go. The next one, I didn't realize this was one day. Dr. Strangelove. It's another one that feels like it probably takes place over a few days, but then when you look at the plot of the film, you see like, oh yeah, it starts in the morning and then at the end of the day, everything goes to hell.
Oh, it's like a normal day.
It's a normal day. Next one is The Warriors, which is a 70s cult classic film. about a group of guys in a gang called the Warriors, who have to get from one side of New York to the other in 24 hours in order to avoid being killed by all the other New York gangs. Warriors, come out and play. Hey. Hocus Pocus is a 24-hour film. I didn't think about that, but then like you have to realize it's on Halloween.
It all happens on Halloween night.
All Halloween's on Halloween. Escape from New York with Kurt Russell, John Carpenter classic. Another one I didn't realize was only a one-day film.
Mm-mm.
But then upon like rewatching it, I realized they tell him at the beginning you have 24 hours to get the president out of here, or he's gonna die from this like thing that they injected him with. One that I added earlier today that Kevin and I both said we didn't think of this till earlier, but probably should have been on somebody's list. Training Day. Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington. About a young cop who's put together with this older, veteran cop played by Denzel. Denzel's very crooked. He's a rookie matched up with this guy who's very crooked and prone to doing drug deals and taking money from people, and tries to basically recruit Ethan Hawke to his side. And when he doesn't, tries to have him killed.
Yeah.
And very tense film. Great film. Great performance from Denzel. He won the Oscar for that for Best Actor.
And something that paired with this, which I thought of later, was Collateral, which was Tom Cruise and
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, where he's a cab driver, like a cab driver, right, or something.
Jamie Foxx is a cab driver, and Tom Cruise is a hitman, and he hires him for the day to drive him around the city to all of his hits.
His hits, yeah.
Yeah. And then two that I just thought of, and I'm like, I can't fucking believe I didn't think of these. Two of my favorite movies of all time from one of my favorite directors of all time, Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Two Tarantino classics. Both take place over 24 hours. Don't realize it because, well, actually, no, you know what? Reservoir Dogs does not take place over 24 hours. I just thinking about it now. There's plenty of scenes where, oh, wait, you know what? It's one of those ones that's hard to say because there's so many flashbacks.
Right.
It basically, the main plot, which is him getting shot and they're hiding out in the hideout after the jewel heist and waiting for the boss to show up, is the part that kind of takes place over the 24 hours. But there's all these flashbacks to other things that happened throughout the heist. And same thing with Pulp Fiction, because it's not told in order. Mm-hmm. You kind of lose the fact that it takes place over one day. And then Kevin added Mallrats after we mentioned that Clerks and Mallrats are both Kevin Smith one-day films.
And I have my wife's selection if you'd like to hear it.
Sure.
Megan's suggestion, as I was talking to her about this, she said, "Oh, have you ever seen this movie, Run Lola Run?" And I have never seen it, but apparently this may be a cheat too. To the way she explained it to me, it's kind of similar to Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She has to save her boyfriend from something. She needs to get money to be able to save him from gangsters or whatever, and she keeps every time her boyfriend dies, she relives the day and has to try to fix it.
Yes. It's so I'm looking it up here. Run Lola Run. So Groundhog Day came out in 1993. Run Lola Run came out in 1998. And so it is a very similar Groundhog Day thing, because it's she's reliving the day over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said earlier, Groundhog Day kind of created this genre of film where characters live the day over and over again. Run Lola Run's a good one. That's one that I haven't seen in a while. It's probably another one I haven't seen since when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's very similar. And it also reminds me, there's a movie that came out a few years ago that's really, really good, really funny. It's another kind of comical horror film. It's called Happy Death Day, where this girl is constantly getting murdered by the same guy throughout the film, and she doesn't know who the murderer is.
Oh.
And so the whole movie, she's trying to find out who the murderer is before she gets killed again. So every time she gets killed, she starts the day over again and spends the day trying to figure out who this murderer is. So kind of a little bit in the same tone as Run Lola Run. That's another one-day film. Happy Death Day.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there are plenty of other one-day films out there. So anybody out there listening, if you'd like, you can answer our hypothetical question from earlier about a movie you'd love to see the weekend it premiered, or maybe give us your pick for a day in the life movie that you really, really like, and we'll mention it next week on our season finale. Mike, do you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
I have beer around the world.
Around the world, around the world.
So it's kind of like history.
Mm-hmm.
Kvass is a fermented beverage historically popular in Russia and other Slavic and Baltic countries. It is typically low in alcohol, usually made with rye grain or bread, and often flavored with fruit, spices, herbs, and even beets. It has been popular in its country of origin since the Middle Ages.
You lost me at the beets. I've already had this
Yeah.
thing about beers with vegetables in them. You know me.
I know.
Let's revisit our drinks for this evening. I had that Weiss beer at the beginning. It was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. The Irish cream stout, I wasn't sure about at first, but man, by the time I finished that bottle, it was one of the best beers I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seriously conflicted as to whether or not I want to drink the other one or make a beer bread out of it.
Leo?
Yes.
Make a beer bread. I have a bottle here.
Nice.
Pick up Saturday.
I'll be dipping the beer bread in it. Mike, what were you drinking again?
Tea.
Four Roses bourbon.
Four Roses bourbon. Right out of the bottle.
On the rock. On the rock.
And Kev, how was your trip through the day of
Through
beers?
the day of beers? Well, I started off with the Pilsner. The Pilsner seemed to treat me pretty well. The IPA was a little heavy, a little tough to get through. But eventually I made my way to the Vienna Lager, which is the last one, and also very, very tasty. I'm still working on that one, though.
Nice. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for episode 102, A Day in the Life, movies that take place in one day. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. You can support the show by going to Patreon or buying our merchandise at the Films and Fermentation storefront on teespring.com. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between Pickled and Fermented next week as we present our season 5 finale. We're going to be taking a short little break after next week's episode and then coming back to you with our 6th season in a few weeks. But next week will be our season 5 finale, episode 103. Episode 103 is going to be a continuation of an older episode. We had a episode in season 2 called Getting to Know Us. This is Getting to Know Us Part 2. We're going to talk about the 5 movies that we would show if we wanted somebody to know us better and know our taste in movies. It's a episode that we got to think about a little bit before we present it. So, I'm looking forward to it. Well, that'll be next week, episode 103. In the meantime, thank you for joining us again this evening. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Hello, sir.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
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 Hello. Go out and get me as many antihistamines as you can grab. You're young; they won't card you.
Say my name, Heisenberg. You're goddamn right. Oh, speaking of awesome TV shows, guys, catch up on Mandalorian this week.
Oh my God!
Not yet.
Oh, Mike.
Hey, I'm busy. I got games to set up for Saturday, guys.
Speaking of a wish list, my art teacher's excited because he's getting a 3D printer for next year. He said, I'm going to make all my little D&D characters on it. Yeah.
Speaking of Breaking Bad, Kev, that one Mandalorian in that episode was Skinny Pete from Breaking Bad.
Really?
Yeah.
The one
on
the
the ship.
ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one skinny white guy was Skinny Pete.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw his face and was like, holy shit, that's Skinny Pete. One thing, Mike, I'll tell you about without like spoiling the episode for you is they're finally starting to tie together all these like various plot lines that they've had throughout the season. And it's
there's only 2 more episodes anyway.
I think there's only one more episode because I think it's only 8 episodes.
That was the
This was
7th
episode
one.
7.
7, yeah.
So this,
well,
this,
it's 2
this
episodes
one and then the finale.
last night. Yeah.
They're tying the plot lines together and starting to kind of tie it into episode 7, 8, and 9 as well. It was a good episode. You gotta watch it, man, so we can bullshit about it on Saturday or something.
I'll watch it before Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Was it as good as Jack Black?
It was better than the Jack Black episode. I thought it was much better than the Jack Black episode.
I thought that was a funny episode.
The best thing about the Jack Black episode was Christopher Lloyd and his Dooku was a visionary speech. Which, after watching Tales from the Jedi, so as I'm watching it, I'm like, Dooku kind of was a visionary. Like I was along for the ride until he killed Yaddle, and then I was like, motherfucker did her wrong. And I was like, nope, I'm not on board anymore.
Nope.
He was a visionary until that moment.
Yeah. Motherfucker did Yaddle wrong.
Well,
at least they answered the question, what happened to Yaddle?
But yeah, I know. I said you finally get some answers to like what happened to some of these masters that were on the council.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a cool discussion. I like that one.
Kev, you all right with that one?
Yeah, I'm okay with that one. It's going to require some thought. I have a student who's he's flying through the Skywalker saga like you wouldn't believe this week. It's like, Mr. Tuxton, I'm watching the original. I really liked all the action that was in the Revenge of the Sith and the end of the Clone Wars. I was like, all right, well. And then he got to the original trilogy. He goes, I'm kind of deflated. I was like, why? He goes, well, the fight scenes aren't that great. The action's kind of limited. I was like, dude, it was the 70s.
Yeah, I was like, those are actually groundbreaking effects. I had a kid today who's like 2nd or 3rd grade. Had a Star Wars T-shirt on, so I was like, so would you rather be a Jedi or a Sith? And he went, I'd rather be a Sith. I go, really? He goes, yeah, the villains are cooler. I go, which Sith would you be? And he goes, Anakin. And I said, Darth Vader Anakin or young Anakin or like Revenge of the Sith Anakin? And he went, Revenge of the Sith Anakin, because he was tough. And I said, really? He goes, yeah, possibly even crispy Anakin. I was like, why crispy Anakin? He goes, that's when he's the angriest.
Oh yeah, you'd be a little angry too.
I was like, tomorrow I'm gonna go speak with the guidance counselor. She might have to have a talk with him.
Yeah.
Crispy Anakin.